Good afternoon and Happy New Year. Welcome to the January 5th, 2026 Council meeting. I'd like to call this meeting to order and ask that you all rise for the singing of our national anthem.
Oh, Canada, our home and native land, true patriot love in all of us command. With flowing hearts we see thee rise, the true north strong and free. From far and wide, oh Canada, we stand on guard for thee. God, keep our land glorious and free. Oh Canada, we stand on guard for thee. Oh, Canada, we stand on guard for thee.
Thank you to our very own Tennille Towns for the singing of our national anthem and for the images of our city, thanks to the marketing department. Moving on, I'd like to take this opportunity to read our land acknowledgement. The city respectfully acknowledges the Beaver, Cree, Dene, and Métis people as the original caretakers of these lands and surrounding area. We are grateful to live, learn, work, and play on Treaty 8 territory within Turtle Island and acknowledge these lands have been home to diverse and sovereign First Nations and Inuit nations since time immemorial. Moving on to today's agenda, the adoption of the previous council meeting minutes, recognizing Councillor Thiessen.
Oh my goodness, I beat Councillor O'Connor for that.
It's a new year.
Yeah, it's new year. Looks like you got a resolution, mister. I'd move that council adopt the minutes of the city council meeting held December 8th as presented.
That motion is in order. An opportunity for any discussion, debate. Seeing none, call the question. Please vote. And that carries unanimously. Moving on to the adoption of today's agenda, recognizing Councillor O'Toole.
Thank you very much. I move that council adopt the agenda as amended to move roundtable before the act recess.
Great, thanks for that motion. So for those who are watching at home, traditionally roundtable is the last item of business. Today we're going to move it to the afternoon session as there's only one item of business for the evening. So we will call that motion is in order, and I'll call that motion to question.
New Year, man.
And that carries unanimously. Moving on to item number 6 on today's agenda, the delegation portion of our meeting. And for those who are watching at home online, we encourage people to come to visit council. We ask that you fill out a form ahead of time. It's a pretty simple form just to let us know what you're coming to talk about. We had one group indicate today that they are coming at 3 o'clock. For those times that we do have an evening session, there is a delegation portion in the evening if those who are interested would rather come then. Today, Mr. Frank Skolly is here, and I'll ask him to introduce himself and his guest and take 5 minutes to address council, and then council may have some questions for you. So welcome and Happy New Year.
Thank you, Mayor. For those who don't know me, my name is Frank.
Mr. Skolly, I apologize for interrupting you. Could you just pull, the microphone's not attached to the table, but could you pull it closer right to you?
Yeah.
Perfect.
Is that better?
That's much better. Thank you so much.
For those of you who don't know me, I'm Frank Skolly. I'm the first vice president of the Grande Prairie Legion. Today I'm coming to you as a veteran, not as a Legion member, but as a veteran, to deal with the cenotaph. Well, that's why I can't find it. I have a picture of the existing cenotaph. And if you look at it, you'll see that the plaque on it only concerns World War I, World War II, and Korea. It has a basic little thing for peacekeepers, and then it has a little plaque to try and represent Afghanistan. Myself, I find that insulting. Okay? This cenotaph has not been properly updated in 30, 40 years. So what I'm coming to council about is I've got some veterans together. I've talked with the Legion, I've talked with the Anavets, and I've talked with the Veterans Association. Okay, we're all in agreement. We would like to erect a new cenotaph. Okay? For those who don't know, this cenotaph is it's the third iteration of a Grande Prairie cenotaph. It has had several appearances. At some point, it looked like this. Okay? Why it changed, I don't know. But originally, this is one picture of the original cenotaph, and you'll notice that there's sentries placed around it. And that is common for Remembrance Day. Now, don't mind me, I've got a health condition and I'm dealing with some of this. It's a little different for me. Anyways, so since the cenotaph has changed 3 times already, to take that plaque out and update it would mean basically destroying the cenotaph itself in its present condition. Okay, that is just rock cemented in place. The thing is hollow on that day, but so to get that plaque out, it's going to mean just a fair amount of destruction. So we want to erect a new cenotaph similar to the original. Okay, and while we do this, we also want to move the cenotaph. I don't know if any of you have attended Remembrance Day at the cenotaph. You find that there's a lot of people there and there's not a lot of room. So what we are proposing to do is move the cenotaph to here, behind that roadway. So moving that cenotaph back on the other side of that roadway. Okay? Now, what I'm looking for is support from the city council. Okay, we're going to apply for grants. I've had a verbal estimate of the monument at about $65,000, but that does not include the shipping of it, and that does not include erecting it, things like that. Okay, so I'm hoping to get some support from city council. Also that the city departments know that council supports this, so that Parks can help me out and whoever else. I'm hoping that when the project is near completion, Parks would be able to do the landscaping on the project to finish it. And then it's done to the way Parks wants it done. Does that make sense? If I can give you a drawing, I wish I can give you a drawing of what the new one, a proposed drawing of what the new one would look like, but I'm not on the internet here, so I can't pull it up. Okay, is there any questions about what we're trying to do?
Thanks for your presentation, Mr. Skolly. I'll open it up to council now for questions, and I'll remind council of questions about whose land it is, etc. We'll leave that for our administration portion of delegations. But questions for the gentlemen that are here today, recognizing Councillor Berg.
Yeah, thanks, Mayor Clayton, and excellent report, and I really welcome the idea too. You answered most of my questions, but maybe some specifics. I was going to ask, is the location great, and you want to push back. The question would be around grants. Have you explored any grants, say through Veterans Affairs, and if so, what kind of dollars might Veterans Affairs have?
I've not applied for any grants yet. I'm going to be having a meeting tomorrow with Holly Sargent,
Yep.
okay, to get things rolling on the grants. As far as grants go, they go dollar for dollar. I think it was up to 25, was it? Yeah, take that part.
There we go. So I'm Dean Langton.
Introduce yourself for.
Oh,
Thank you.
My name's Dean Langton. I'm the president of the Grande Prairie branch of the Royal Canadian Legion, also Navy veteran. To answer your question, Councillor Berg, VAC has funds for a one-time only monument refurbishing grant. It's up to $25,000. The $25,000 is not guaranteed. It will be up to that amount. We're also able, through the Poppy Fund, which is administered locally through our branch, we can also chunk in money from that. That's due to a request to our command, which is in Calgary, and Dominion, which is in Ottawa. So once we get this ruling, we'll be able to apply for those and see where we are at the end of the day.
Okay, and then finally, you said it would be about $65,000, but it would have to be shipped here. And again, I know that there would be concrete, there'd be pilings underneath, different things like that. So I know that it would go up. But when you mentioned the shipping, where does it come from? Does it come ready assembled?
It comes from Quebec.
Okay.
So there's one quarry in Canada, and actually it's jointly U.S. and Canadian. The buildings, some of the buildings are actually split in half. Half are in the Canadian side, half on the U.S. side. So that's where it would come from. The quarry, the carving. I believe they're also going to do the all the lettering in place. Am I wrong?
I think some of them might be done here.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
All right. Yeah, excellent answers, guys. Thank you.
Just to reiterate, that 65,000 was a verbal quote estimate.
Yeah,
it's
that's
not
all.
a firm number. It could be a lot more. We don't know.
And I would expect it to be a lot more. Again, if that's what the cenotaph itself costs, as I said, there would be a concrete base, there would be pilings underneath, a lot of things that aren't
Green.
included in that.
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, and one of the things that will bring the cost of transportation up is, of course, it will be one piece, one truck. So it's not like they can load the truck up and LTL it to our destination. Special scaffolding, special supports, et cetera, et cetera. So there you go.
Councillor Thiessen.
Thank you very much, Mayor Clayton. Thanks for coming in, Dean and Frank. Really appreciate this. And that cenotaph needs a little bit of extra TLC in it, if you ask me. Just a couple questions. First off, I think the 65 is probably pretty accurate, add in landscaping and other stuff that we might have to do. Probably looking at, I'm just guessing, $100,000. But is there an opportunity? I noticed that over the years, and I remember, I guess, my first iteration of seeing the cenotaph, it looked like that first picture before Jubilee Park was fully grown out. So it looks like it's maintained its form over the years, but as far as like the shape goes.
Yeah.
So my question for you is do we have to order it and incur the extra shipping? Or is there like a special mandate that the military does, or could this be done locally?
I would say no, because the quarry is in Quebec. Okay? And no, the military doesn't have something like that. If you were getting a piece of military equipment, you might be able to do it, but not the monument.
So although we are dealing locally with the monument suppliers, the quarry unfortunately is in Quebec. So we're trying to keep the cost local. We're trying to support local. On the other hand, to get the cenotaph built, chiseled out, has to be done in Quebec, then shipped.
I just and the reason why I ask is I know that we've got masons, stoneworkers, and people that work with that kind of stuff here. Kakwa Stone, as well as, So I'm just thinking we got a lot of talent here in the Peace region. If we're going to spend money on something to honor the people that went to serve for our military. Is there a way that we can keep the money here as we're honoring our military service members here?
I totally appreciate where you're coming from. Yes, we would like to keep it as local as possible. But for something like that, it is a granite, and there is no quarries around here for something like that.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah, no, awesome. Thank you very much, gentlemen.
You're welcome.
I just, on the same vein, the existing one looks like it was built locally. And so did you explore, because it's rock and finishing that's been used in houses that were built in that era. I'm curious, did you explore designing and developing one locally?
Actually, we approached a company here downtown, okay, that does this kind of work, okay, and one in Rycroft that does this kind of work. They're the only two, okay, in this area. Otherwise, I'd have to go to Edmonton for more monument type design, okay? And what the veterans had decided on was they would like to go back as much as possible to the original appearance, okay? And I suspect what had happened is that the original was all concrete, and the concrete failed. That's why it got stuccoed, and that's why it got torn down, and the third one built. That's my suspicion. I haven't been able to find any details why things happened the way they did, but it's to try and bring it back to the original.
The original cenotaph was laid in 1959 by then Dominion Legion president. It was unveiled and commemorated, and then things go a bit blank as far as history. We know this one is now existing. We don't know why. There's nothing in between 1959 and the commemoration of this one. It's just, there's a black void. We have pictures of Remembrance Day ceremonies, but there's no explanation as to why it was changed. The original design on cenotaphs back in the day was granite. It was quarried, so we don't know if the original one was quarried or whether it was cement. Historically, we're sort of lost.
Okay, thank you. Councillor O'Connor.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Skolly. I appreciate you coming in. This is near and dear to my heart, having grown up in the city of Ottawa and seen the cenotaph there. There's no comparison. I'm just curious if we're going to update it. Unfortunately, there's always going to be conflict in the world. And I'm just wondering if in your design you would allow for some blank spaces to be put in so we could engrave future commemorations so we don't have to.
Yeah. That's a major problem of the current one, is there was no allowance made. God forbid that we have to, but the new one will have space so that it can be upgraded more.
Yep. Okay. It would be nice to, if you could supply us with the website, we could take a look at the website and see what the cenotaph could look like.
If somebody here could put this thing on the internet.
We can just get you to email it to us. That'd be great. Or work with Ms. Bieberdorf and she'll get the information to council.
Anyway, I'm just wondering if we shouldn't be budgeting a little bit more to make it look right. And
at this time, I'm not going to ask anybody to budget it.
Yeah.
Okay, until I get more details about the shipping and everything else.
Okay.
And then if I need money from you, I'll come.
Well, I'm not opening up a checkbook here. That's not.
No.
I just want to make sure that I've always seen when we try and just do what's required and do the minimum, it's that's not right. I think you need to plan for what's going to be the best representation to represent our soldiers, our veterans.
And thank you, Councillor O'Connor. Appreciate all the comments from around the desk. Just to elaborate on the moving of the cenotaph back. For those of you who have attended the outdoor ceremony at the cenotaph, you should be quite aware of the sardine can that it is. over the past few years, Remembrance Day has grown once more into an event. Prior to that, it was sporadic, but you'll end up with 200 people there. By the time we do the march-in, or by the time the march-in is done, you get the band, you get the cadets, you're shuffling left until you're shoulder to shoulder. We end up with, and have found that we end up with people on the street, which isn't bad because it's blocked off behind you, but they don't get the full appreciation of what Remembrance Day is and should be. And now I guarantee that's all the blathering I will do.
Councillor Bressie.
Great, thank you. That actually leads well into what my question was I've noticed that issue there. Also, this year was the first year my mother visited for Remembrance Day, and I had to help my mother get there, who's got some severe disabilities, and that was a stress and a challenge as well this year for my family. So I'm curious, has there been any thought on, if we're going to redo it, is this actually still the best spot for it, or should we be looking at other spots? And I've got no opinion on that. It's an honest, wide open question.
That's an excellent question. So, logistically, it's a 50-50 shot. The city, thank you very much, closes off the side road and 100th to facilitate the march in. We're by the provincial building, which makes sense. We're by City Hall, which makes sense. What would be a good alternative? That's a good question. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, and I guess more of my comment is, if we're going to have this conversation, I think that should be part of the conversation, something we should explore too, and not make a decision today, but have that conversation. And just my last comment is, if it does stay there and we do move it back, one concern I'd have is, already people don't realize it's there, and I'd be excited about a marble one or a granite one, because I think it would stand out more. But also, I do think if it is going to move back, we need to put some thoughts on: is there a small statue we can put close to the road, or are we trimming the trees, etc. Like, I just want to make sure that if it moves back, that it's visible. And it's a shame the community doesn't realize it's there, and I don't want to make that a bigger problem.
It's something that I'm definitely willing to talk to Parks Department about, because Parks would know whereabouts I could move it to. And I appreciate what Parks has done for us over the last couple of years. I brought it to their attention that we had some severe problems with the trees that were around Cenotaph at the time. Half of them were already dead. The druggies had been making encampments at it. A lot of people go by it and been defecating behind it and stuff. So moving it to a different location, that's all open, okay? But it's got to be something reasonable. And I had a thought for a moment there. A lot of the trees that are in Centennial Park, or in Jubilee Park now, have reached their lifespan. So wherever we move it to, that's what we'll do, okay?
Sorry, Frank. It might actually, mulling this over, it might make way more sense to start from the ground up. If we found the right location with the right park atmosphere, this would make maybe more sense. We could actually build it to suit, rather than trying to rejig something to suit. Might be cheaper in the long run, might be more beneficial to all involved.
Reference your comment about people not noticing it, whatever. There's a lot of people don't know what it is, okay? I've mentioned to many people the Cenotaph, and they look at me strange and go, "There's that rock pyramid across the road from Tim Hortons." Oh yeah, okay, referencing something like that. What we have been looking at too is perhaps trying to find a retired piece of military equipment to go near it.
Councillor O'Toole.
I think my questions have been answered if you're looking at another alternative route or another location, I was hoping that you may, or wondering what renovations you would do to the current area, like where the road is. Like, would you be putting, this is just my thoughts, would you consider putting speakers in the trees for that particular event? Or making it accessible to put speakers in? Thank you.
One of the biggest problems with Jubilee Park is just no power. I had thought about putting up flagpoles behind the cenotaph, okay? And I'm still going to look at doing it. But officially, you should be lighting the flags if they're up at night. And nobody's going to go out there every day up and down the flags, but should have lights. The closest power, and I've talked to ATCO about this, the closest power transformer is beside the RCMP station. So to get power out there just for lights or for a speaker system, whatever, we'd have to tie into the RCMP station to get power out there. That's the closest point. The other, we have to go solar, and that's another big cost by itself.
Maybe we need to plant some currant bushes and plug into them.
Yeah.
There we go.
Actually, I think a lot of people would like to see the city put lighting out there because it's a very dark park and a lot of people like to use it.
It's actually a provincial park, but
Is it?
yeah. Jubilee Park?
Yep.
Yeah, we have a contract to maintain it, but it's a provincial park. Yeah.
I was not aware of that either. So yeah, there's two places to tie into power: the provincial building or the RCMP station, which I believe is city-owned.
Yep.
It's just a matter of how to do it, how to move everything so that it's beneficial, so that the maximum amount of people can get in there once a year. And I know that doesn't sound like much, once a year, but it's sort of an important day, And it just seems to be, it doesn't matter how cold it is. Mine is 42, there's 150 people out there. It's amazing.
No, I myself as a veteran, even though I usually attend the Legion one, if there's nobody going to it, I would attend to it. And that, as a veteran, I think there would always be a veteran who will go to the cenotaph.
Okay, I have no one else in the queue. I personally have two questions for you. Following on some of Councillor Thiessen's comments, and you mentioned that the main organization that does monuments is out of Quebec. However, you said there was an opportunity to explore monument businesses out of Edmonton. Did you go down that path at all?
No, I did not.
Okay. Second question I had for you was totally off topic, but since you're here, personally, I received a few emails about interest of people doing a veterans sidewalk, and I know we've had those conversations. I know administration has had those conversations. Could you, for the public, please give me an update on where you're at? If I recall correctly, we're going to come back in the spring and talk about that opportunity again, but maybe you can update for those who are watching from home.
Absolutely. So originally we wanted to have it done by the end of September. We wanted to do the crosswalks on either side of the Legion on 101st. Excuse me. And we were in the process of gathering volunteers, and I got a call saying that they were going to resurface 101st Avenue and maybe we should hold off. So that was a timely call. That was awesome. Then winter hit. We're planning end of March, middle of April, we'll get it done.
Great.
And yeah, we'll come back with our request and update it at that time or prior to. And yeah, we're very excited about that. We've also just, not city business, but we've also approved a muralist for the west side of our building down that big cinder block. Tim's going to come in. He's working on a plan right now, and he's who we picked as our muralist. So we're sort of really excited about the outdoor stuff now.
Well, that's great. Tim Heimdall will do an excellent job, and appreciate the update because I know many people are interested in seeing that sidewalk come to fruition. So appreciate that update.
Oh, thank you for asking.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, Council, for your questions. Thank you, gentlemen, for your presentation. As mentioned, we deal with the delegation portion towards the end of this afternoon session. You're more than welcome to stick around and listen to any conversation or questions that Council may have for administration. Otherwise, I think Ms. Bieberdorf will be the person who will follow up with you. And I'm getting a head nod, so I'm sure she will. And again, Happy New Year. Thanks for being here.
Thank you for your time.
You bet. Moving on in today's agenda under reports, public member appointment. There is one motion in your package, Council. If you recall, during our last Council meeting prior to Christmas, we appointed most of the committee members. However, there was space for an additional one. We did have conversations with Mr. Keddy, who had applied for other committees. He has indicated that he would be very happy to be on the CKC Advisory Committee. And so the motion is in front of you. Happy to have discussion and debate. I would just look for someone to make that motion first, if we could. Councillor Bressie.
Great, thank you. I would move the council appoint Jeff Keddy to the Community Knowledge Campus Advisory Committee for a term ending December 31st, 2028. I appreciate our public members who are willing to give their time to make that facility better, and I think Mr. Keddy would be a great addition to that team.
Perfect. Thank you for that motion. I too think Mr. Keddy will do an excellent job. I know his background in the community as well as sport will be put to good use on that committee. I see no one else in the queue, so I'll call the question on that motion. And that carries unanimously. Moving on to item number 8 on today's agenda, 8.1, the Council Committee of the Whole. The minutes are there from December 10th. I will look for a motion. Councillor Bressie again.
Happy to move the council adopt the minutes of the Council Committee of the Whole meeting held December 10th as presented.
Perfect. Thank you. That motion is in order. Opportunity for errors or discussion on debate with any errors or omissions. Seeing no one, I'll call the question. Please vote. And that too carries unanimously. Moving to item 8.2, the minutes from the Public and Protective Services Committee meeting, and I will look to Councillor O'Toole for introduction on that.
Thank you very much. I do have the minutes. I just got too many screens open here. I move that council adopt the minutes of the Public and Protective Services Committee meeting held December 16th as presented.
Thank you for that. That motion is in order. Call the question. Please vote. And that carries unanimously. Councillor O'Toole, you had one item of business today.
Yes. We have the Grande White. Hang on. It's been a long time since we've been operating here. We have one motion, and that motion is council adopt the Grande White strategy as presented.
It's a winter strategy.
Winters.
Perfect.
Grande winter strategy. Yes.
Great. So in your package, Council, and for those who are watching at home, the Grande Winter Strategy is in the package today. It was part of the Council 2022-25 strategic plan to direct that the city needed a winter strategy. That was presented by administration. It is in your package. It was at committee level. There was a lot of discussion at committee level, but open it up for conversation, discussion, and debate, recognizing Councillor Auger.
Am I moving it or?
No, you're in the queue. Do you have discussion or debate on that motion?
Yeah, I actually read the whole thing and it was quite interesting.
Well, that's great to hear.
A lot of good stuff going on, and actually my wife and I were talking about it last night, and I was just telling her I think it's just a couple of programs that were going on, and then we read it and I fully understood it now. So that's all I wanted to say. I think it's a worthwhile activity to do here in the city.
Well, thank you for taking the time to read it. I know staff put a lot of work into it. It is a great plan, in my opinion, as well. Recognizing Councillor Thiessen.
Yeah, I actually read it too, and I was going over it again for this meeting just to refresh my memory. And it struck me what it didn't strike me as the first time. And I know what we set out to do this, but when I sat down to read it, I imagined the second time that I was just a member of the public reading the Grander Winter Strategy. And as awesome as the report is, because it's really awesome, there's lots of things and lots of good things that we can do. As just a general member of the public, I sat at the end of the report asking myself, well, where's the snow removal plan? You know, which a winter strategy might include that. I know that it was a winter recreation strategy, a grander winter strategy for recreation, but it does allude to winter being as, you know, we need plowed roads, and it does talk about plowing bus stops and different pathways and shoveling skating rinks and stuff like that. But as far as the grander winter strategy, I might find a little bit of confusion by not seeing like anything there in regards to snow removal. So I'm not here to amend anything. I just think that perhaps as a title, if we included recreation in there, that might be exactly what it is for the general reading public who might pick it up in a year or two.
Yeah, thanks for your comments, Councillor Thiessen. Obviously, as you're fully aware, snow removal lands in transportation, and there's a snow removal strategy that would be under that bucket of business within our organization. But I think the executive summary really clears it up, that it's a vision for making winter a celebrated and energizing season in Grande Prairie. So I hope that if people were interested in it, they would read more than the title. I appreciate your comments that snow removal is a big part of winter for us, but I don't think it really is intended to be part of what we're doing to energize the season of winter. But something to consider for sure. Councillor O'Toole, you're still in the queue.
Yeah, I'd just like to highlight the three key objectives. There's three of them in the report. Tell our grander winter story. This objective focuses on shaping and sharing a positive, unified winter identity. Grande Prairie's northern spirit, characterized by resilience, resourcefulness, and community, serves as the foundation for a renewed narrative about winter. The intention is to celebrate what makes local winter life unique, highlight cultural traditions, and increase the understanding of how residents can not only survive winter, but genuinely thrive in it. The second point is the grander winter lifestyle emphasizes creating accessible, inclusive, and diverse opportunities for residents to enjoy winter. Grande Prairie's sunny, bright winter days create ideal conditions for outdoor recreation and events. This objective expands programming, builds cultural experiences, and promotes active living while removing participation barriers. And the third aspect is grander winter focuses on creating the infrastructure, mobility systems, business environment, and safely supports necessarily to sustain an active winter city. This objective ensures that residents and visitors can move through, participate in, and enjoy winter confidently and safely. And I leave it at that.
Thanks for that, Councillor O'Toole. Recognizing Councillor Bressie.
Great, thank you. Yeah, not looking to amend this today, but similar to Councillor Thiessen, just something I think might be missing from it and that we need to put thought into as we're talking about winter is this is a very outdoor-oriented strategy, which I think is great. We should help people enjoy the outdoors in winter, but there's also residents who just aren't interested in enjoying the outdoors in winter, or ones that for health or mobility reasons never will be able to enjoy the outdoors, or even I'm a family that our family loves the outdoors in the winter, but you have record snowfall and consistent minus 30 like we saw last month, and it's just not feasible. So I really do think that our indoor work is also really important of being a winter city. So for example, we're building a multi-sport sport dome. I think that's a huge part of our winter strategy because it's allowing kids to enjoy sports throughout the summer, parents to watch traditionally outdoor sport in shirt sleeves in the winter. And so I really do think that as we're market ourselves as a winter city, we absolutely should be promoting and enhancing outdoor activities. But the amazing work we already do indoors is really important too. And maybe it's important to focus more on the outdoor for this, because I think that is where we can help our game significantly. But I just want to make sure we're taking the celebrations and also taking the wins of the amazing indoor opportunities we have to help residents escape the cold.
Thanks, Councillor Bressie. Just had a quick sidebar with the city manager, and I agree with your comments. There are a lot of things that we do that if we were a, let's call it, summer city or a city that didn't have a strong winter season, we would probably do less of indoor walking tracks, enhancing services. So the suggestion was that this report could come back with a tweaking of some language to maybe identify enhanced services that we do that are indoor because of the fact that we are a winter city. If you wanted to make a motion, I can help you with that, but just sort of direct administration to bring back this report with updated language indicating of the enhanced services that we do indoors to support our winter strategy.
Yeah. So yeah, happy to make a motion. Happy to work one if you want, or take that one if that one got captured.
I wasn't making your motion.
Sure. Well, so yeah, I would move that there is a motion on the floor. So
I apologize. Okay, so just amend, if you wouldn't mind making an amendment to the existing motion.
Yeah.
Actually, no. It's completely different. So I could ask the mover, which is Councillor O'Toole, to remove his motion if you're comfortable with the intent of Councillor Bressie's motion that would be coming next, which would be bringing back the report with some additional language to it. But if you're not, happy to discuss and debate this motion as currently on the floor.
I would just like to leave the one that we got going.
Okay, so there's a current motion. We'll vote on this motion to adopt it as is. If it's defeated, we will come back to Councillor Bressie's motion. Councillor Bressie?
Yeah, and I guess just talk about that. I mean, there's nothing in this work that I don't want to do and start. So I guess looking for advice, is there any harm of passing it as is today, but then saying, hey, also bring back potential amendments, and then we can pass it today, but update? Like, what would be the preference, to actually defeat this or to...
Well, in my opinion, it would be weird to add any language to a report approved by council. Administration typically doesn't add stuff after it's approved, so it'd be. But Mr. Burke.
Yeah, no, I'm certainly support the direction Mayor Clayton was going, and that we should pass. If it's our strategy, we should pass the strategy. I'd say it's low impact if we were to just take a little bit more time to add some language. I'd rather get this right at this point. So if you would like additional language, then it would be to defeat this and for us to have a subsequent motion.
Great. In that case, I'll speak against the motion, and that's not because I don't think this is quality work. I really do appreciate the work that staff put into this, and there's nothing in this that I disagree with. It's all positive, but I just think there are further enhancements we should make before we pass this. So I'd encourage council to vote no on this motion.
Other discussion or debate on the motion? Councillor Plott.
Thanks, Mayor Clayton. I'm just curious. I appreciate we're looking at this motion today, but I thought there was going to be touch points of this coming back of how it's being implemented. So could we not move the motion today, and as touch points come back, say, hey, could we add these things into the strategy? It feels like we're trying to change the whole strategy. I think there's a lot of good nuts and bolts in there, but if we're going to have touch points coming back to look at how we enhance or change it, could we not be doing it then, or do we need to
I just think the timing to change the language could be fairly quick, whereas the report on how it's going, we're in the middle of winter, so I think that's sort of a little bit later.
Okay, no, and fair enough. So I just do want to clarify, we are going to have a touch point coming back regardless of this at some point, how the strategy is working.
What we talked about at committee when it was first presented was that we were looking at this sort of in two phases. There was the phase we were doing, starting to change our language in the promotions and through communications and marketing that we were going to start implementing here during this winter season. The next touch point was going to be, there are some items in there that would have capital costs or operating costs, and those would be part of budget deliberations in the fall. That was the next intended touch point, was when we needed to add dollars to it. So that would be in the fall was the intention of the discussion at committee.
But to Councillor Plott's point, would there be an update on, for example, Grand North Winterfest following that event?
Yes, we after every event there are those regular touch points through committee. Yes.
Okay. Well, thanks for that. Appreciate it.
Okay. So, motion on the floor to accept the strategy as presented is Councillor O'Toole's motion. There was indication from Councillor Bressie that he would like to see the language enhanced. So, if you vote in support of this motion, it'll stay status quo. If you would like to see other language, I would suggest that you vote in opposition to this motion. Councillor O'Toole to close.
No, I think everything is in there. I read the three major parts that are a part of this document, and I think it's good the way it is. Do I agree there could be some enhancement in the future? Absolutely. But as now, this reaches our expectations. I'd support you to vote.
Thanks for your close, Councillor O'Toole. Appreciate that. Call the question on the motion.
Bressie opposed.
And that is defeated 8-1. I'll go to Councillor Bressie for a motion.
Great, thank you. I would move that Council direct administration to bring back a revised Grande Winter strategy that includes consideration of work done for indoor activities in the winter. And again, just speak to it. I really am happy with the quality of this work. I think it's just missing some great work that we're doing, and I want to make sure we're giving full oversight, but also giving full credit for that work. So thanks to the staff that have put in the work so far. This isn't a knock on that, but just some additional work that I'd like to see in there.
All right, give a moment for that to get loaded into your eScribe. There we go, Direct Administrator. Yep. Councillor Bressie, does that cover your thoughts?
Sorry, I got booted out of eScribe. Just got
So it currently says Council Direct Administration to bring the Grande Winter Strategy back to the appropriate standing committee to include consideration of the work done for indoor activities. Yeah. My only thought is that it could come directly to council, but rather than going through a committee and coming, would that be address your thoughts, Councillor Bressie?
Yeah, maybe just if we just strike to the appropriate standing committee completely, and then that gives discretion on if it's coming back to a committee or council. I'm fine with either one as administration gets into the work.
Okay. So as that gets updated in your eScribe, discussion or debate, council. Just waiting for mine to update. There we go. It is updated in my eScribe. I'm thinking most of you have seen it now. So I see no one in the queue with discussion or debate. Councillor Bressie, do you have anything to add to close? Seeing none, I'll call the question. Please vote. And that is carried 8-1. Moving on to any item 8.2.2, Councillor O'Toole, any highlights from your meeting besides the discussion we just had?
Add under service area update, enforcement services. Hang on here. Enforcement services with snow bans declared. Teams of officers have been dispatched for enforcement of snow routes. Mobile outreach in response to the cold snap. Administration increased proactive outreach. Conducted targeted wellness checks and coordinated transportation and referrals to warming spaces, shelters, and emergency service to reduce cold-related risks among vulnerable individuals. The RCMP presented at council and gave us an update. And then the Grande Prairie Police Service also presented recreational activity aquatics programming remains strong with the successful completion of the 2025 fall season. Sets which ran October 12th to December 9th, and delivering over 80 lessons across 2 seasons. Certified fitness programming will continue under the holiday schedule beginning December 21st, with a range of dryland drop-in classes available to maintain access during the seasonal period. And there is more there. If you can look up the on the webpage, and you'll see everything that was at that meeting. Thank you.
Great. Thanks for that, Councillor O'Toole. Moving on to item 8.3, the Investment and Strategy Committee meeting, and I will turn that one over to Councillor Burke for introduction.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor Clayton. I would like to move Council adopt the minutes of the Investment and Strategy Committee meeting held December 16th as presented.
Thanks for that. That motion is in order. Seeing no one in the queue, I'll call the question. Please vote. And that carries unanimously. Highlights from your meeting, Councillor Berg.
Yeah, thanks, Mayor Clayton. Chief Bailey updated us on a couple of things: community connections, administration accepting applications for multiple community grant programs with a January 5th submission deadline, which is now today. Back then it was 3 weeks. So I suspect you've got till midnight to submit around supporting festivals, arts and culture, and sport tourism. Several meetings were held with neighborhood associations and the Community Advisory Committee, providing information about city services and gathering valuable feedback on future engagement opportunities. Plus, also, New Year's Eve was the deadline to nominate for the Bill Bowes Volunteer Organization of the Year. As we have so many great volunteer organizations in the city, I look forward to seeing that list. And so those are the highlights.
Great. Thanks for that, Councillor Berg. Moving on to item 8.4. The Operational Services Committee meeting, and I'll turn that one over to Councillor Thiessen.
Thank you very much, Mayor Clayton. I'd move that Council adopt the minutes of the Operational Services Committee meeting held December 16th, 2025, as presented.
Thanks for that, Councillor Thiessen. That motion is in order. Seeing no one in the queue, I'll call the question. And this carries unanimously. Councillor Thiessen, one item of business.
You betcha, Mayor Clayton. That is around Transit Public Awareness Campaign and Free Transit Days. And the motion here for business is that Council approve, I would move, an additional free transit day for the Canadian Transit Operators and Appreciation Worker Day, typically occurring on March 18th of each year. Just speaking to this motion, this is another opportunity as presented by Mr. Steve Harvard, our Director of Transit, to increase a little bit more awareness by adding an extra free day to this, as well as honoring all of our transit bus drivers for this as well. So I encourage Council to approve this, as the cost is very minimal to our budget.
Thanks for that, Councillor Thiessen. Open it up for discussion and debate, recognizing Councillor Plott.
Thanks, Mayor Clayton. I'm just wondering, supportive of this, I'm just wondering if administration will be looking at what this actually costs and be putting this into our annual gift in kind of budget that we look at every year, just to know moving forward what this actually costs the community. I'm in support of it. I'm just wondering if we'll be calculating how much it actually did cost us in lost revenue.
Chief Glavin, do you have any information on that?
Yeah, thank you, Mayor Clayton. In the ballpark of $1,500 to $3,000 a day.
I just had sorry, go ahead, Councillor O'Connor.
Yeah, one of the things that I didn't see in the budgets around this was how much are they spending on marketing for this whole campaign? And it seems to be marketing is not cheap. So I'm just wondering, what's the impact of the budget and where is that? Is that coming out of a different department? Where does that come from?
Ms. Bieberdorf, do you have any context on that question?
Thanks, Mayor Clayton. No, I don't have any information on it. The marketing costs would typically all be done internally, so it would all be absorbed within internal budget unless they were doing some paid posts for social media or things like that.
Mr. Burke?
Yeah, in discussions that we felt we could do this within existing marketing and also transit budgets, any marketing costs. So it was not an additional cost to this. I don't have the exact number, but we did have that discussion and felt we could do it within existing resources.
Okay. Thank you very much.
I had a question, Chief Glavin. I think it's great for us to increase exposure on transit so that people are aware of what a great service that we actually operate. We've made significant changes and seen our increases in the numbers of ridership. I'm just a little surprised by the choice of the day. So this is a day to celebrate and recognize the work that our transit operators do, to appreciate their work. But then we're going to load the buses up with more people. And so I don't know if that's really an appreciation. If you were to tell me you wanted to appreciate elected officials and give me more meetings, I don't know if I would really feel more appreciated. So I'm curious on the choice of the day.
Yeah, thanks, Mayor Clayton. I believe it's something that they did a little bit of, or have some discussion internally within the transit department on what would be an appropriate day. I think there were others that were considered as well, such as Experience Grande Prairie, Family Day, Heritage Day, First Day of School, and others. Ultimately, I think they landed on this, but I don't think it's a firm recommendation in the sense that this is the only day that would make any sense.
Well, I guess my comment would be if our transit operators are happy with this day, then it makes sense. If they were actually consulted and the feedback was, yeah, it's a great idea to do it on that day, I wouldn't want to change what they are looking for in regards to appreciation. It just seemed a little odd to me.
Yeah, thanks, Mayor Clayton. If you give me just a second here. And perhaps Mr. Harvard could come up and just explain a little bit on the selection of it. I know that he did speak to it a little bit at committee, but it has been a little while.
Thank you. I'll just give time for Mr. Harvard to come forward. Happy to think it's a great idea. Just don't want you to think that I don't think it's a good idea. I'm just curious if our transit team said, yeah, let's do it that day, then great. But I just don't know if an appreciation day of making your day busier is really what we had hoped to achieve.
Through the chair. Sorry. Yeah, through the chair. Well, obviously with ridership, with transit, we want every day to be as busy as possible. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. That said, this day was selected as it coincides with a national day that's recognized in many communities across Canada to recognize transit operators and transit workers. That's why we selected this specific day.
Okay. All right. Thank you for that. Councillor O'Connor.
Yes, I'm just curious, Mr. Harbour, what are we doing to actually thank the bus drivers on that particular day? I think there's an opportunity here to be able to say, come and thank your bus operator for working in tough conditions through the snow and whatever. So I'm just curious, is there a thought to enhance it?
Through the chair, absolutely. We'll be working with our comms team in terms of getting that messaging out to the community, but also internally, we have some plans in place to make sure that we appreciate the operators in a number of different ways, like more than just maybe coffee in the morning or pizza or something like this. But definitely, there are plans in place to do that for them. Absolutely.
Okay, great.
Mr. Burke, you had something to add?
I did. One other benefit of this day was council had expressed an interest of having some role to participate. This is a day that, as far as I know, as the last we checked, did fit within council's availability, but also it wasn't. It didn't align, or it didn't conflict with another event that had obligations, such as Experience GP Day, where council have other obligations. So this was a day that council could also express their appreciation, and we will have a role to participate if they so choose.
Okay. Seeing no one else in the queue, thank you, Mr. Harvard. I will call the question on the motion as in your e-scribe. Councillor Bressie, how do you vote? In favor. Councillor Bressie votes in favor, and that carries unanimously. Any highlights for your meeting, Councillor Thiessen?
Most definitely, Mayor Clayton. Thanks for asking. One of them was part of the discussion here today that Councillor O'Connor brought up, which is advertising better about transit and getting more riders using the services and the convenience behind that. The report that was presented at committee stated that they would work mostly with internal sources, and it's all detailed there right on this agenda, as well as our committee agendas from December 16th. In other news and development services, we got good news from our building permits. We were up 64% for the year, and revenues in development services were up 150%, so that's a great news story. The rest of the report just essentially talks about all the snow we're getting, so I'll just give you a better update as to all the snow that we got over the Christmas holidays. Besides the 2.5 meter pile that's in front of my house that I've shoveled myself, we as a community whole received 113.8 centimeters since December 1st to today as far as snow removal. So our snow crews have been working diligently and hard, and it seems like they don't get any days off or time off, and we owe an abundance of gratitude to them for all the hard work that they've been doing in ensuring that our roads are as clear and as safe as possible where our work and equipment can allow that. Also, city crews this week will be shoveling paths, ice rinks, as well as bus stops, and pushing hills up, which seems to be the big attraction during the Grand North Winter Festival at the Montrose Cultural Centre. So I encourage everybody, friends, family, bring your friends and family down to the downtown Muskosipi Park, Montrose Cultural Centre, Bonnets Energy Centre to enjoy the Grand North Winter Festival happening this weekend. It's free of charge for everyone to come, and I know that our crews, especially in operational services, are working really hard to put that together so that everyone can enjoy the great outdoors. And the best part of it is we're going to have great weather over the course of this next weekend. So it seems to be warming up here in the next day and a half, and it should hold true for the rest. So I hope to see everybody in Grande Prairie out this weekend. Thank you.
Great. Thanks for that, Councillor Thiessen. Moving on in our agenda today, recognizing Councillor Bressie. Okay, no items of correspondence. However, we will move on to the delegation portion. Today we had one delegation, and I'll recognize Councillor Bressie.
Great, thank you. I really appreciate the gentleman coming in and having this important discussion. It really is time that we update that cenotaph. I definitely want to make sure we're recognizing all veterans, and also that we're allowing appropriate ceremonial guards at the cenotaph. We're allowing people to get in, so I think this is a overdue discussion. And I'd like to move that council direct administration to bring to the appropriate standing committee a report outlining options to replace the cenotaph, including discussion of potential alternative locations. And just speak to this, the main thing is I'd like to see us work with veterans in the community to say, hey, is that Granite the best replacement? Or I heard council say, are there other things that we should consider? So I'd like to have that discussion. Personally, I think it should be mostly guided by the veterans, but definitely I want there to be discussion there. And speak to alternative locations. I do think that this is something that is likely to last the next 50 years probably. And if that is truly the best location where veterans want the cenotaph to be and where it's best equipped to have Remembrance Day ceremonies, awesome. I'm fine keeping it there. Or if we can't find other options in the community that would be appropriate, awesome, I'm fine getting it there. But I think we should at least do the exercise of looking at, are there other places that get there? So if a report comes back and it's, hey, we talked to veterans and we looked at other places that truly is the best place for it, I'd be fine with that being the result of this report. But I want to know that exercise was at least done to know that we've got it in the right place the next 50 years. So I hope that council will support this motion.
Great, thanks for that motion. Councillor Bressie, recognizing Councillor O'Connor.
Thank you very much, Clayton. I would like to add an amendment to this, and if you're acceptable, that Frank had mentioned, Mr. Skolly had mentioned about adding some possibly a retired or old piece of equipment to that site, and he did mention there's no flags, there's no sound speakers, so I'm just wondering if you could add, looking at adding some amenities to that motion.
Mr. Bressie.
If the chair would allow maybe a friendly amendment to that, is options to replace and enhance the cenotaph.
Yep, makes sense.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Councillor Berg.
Yeah, thanks, Mayor Clayton. I just kind of wanted to speak a little bit to options around how it is constructed or locally. So right now it's fieldstone. So I assume that they wanted to keep it very local, and they got some fieldstone and chipped it out, and we used that. I have a little bit of experience in this general area, and the only quarry that I can find anywhere in Alberta would be with Rundle stone, which is traditionally stackable for retaining walls and different things. For what they want is an entirely different look. And I actually appreciate the work that they did do by saying, hey, let's go direct to the quarry to have them build it. Sure, you could source it through somebody in Edmonton, but then you're adding a middleman to it because they would phone the place in Quebec. The other thing, too, is there's design costs, possible engineering, different things like that, where it sounds like the veterans already have a design and something that they're happy with. So you'd save to some measure on those design costs. And they also mentioned that they've got the sculptors there in Quebec, too, that are already prepared and ready to go. So I actually, again, with what experience I do have, appreciate the work that they've done so far and actually respect that.
Mr. Burke, or you had something to add?
Thanks, Mayor Clayton. Just for clarity, how we would interpret this motion is fairly broadly, in that we do appreciate the work that was presented, and want to make sure that I'm unsure if this should be a city project or a Legion project that the city supports through our resources. So we will take the broadest, if agreeable by council, the broadest approach to coming back with some options in collaboration with the presenters. As I'm unsure at this point whether this it's best in our hands, or as we've done with some other projects, we've done construction agreements where we've allocated land and some of our resources, but it hasn't been our project. So don't need a change in the motion, but just want to make sure that was still in the spirit of the motion for us to go do some more exploratory talks with them and bring those options back to council, but that it not necessarily be a city-directed project.
Councillor Bressy?
Yeah, that would definitely be my intent. Is I think often these groups can do it for less money than the city can, but even more importantly than that, I really do think this should be a veterans-driven. Veterans know better than anybody else how best to honor their comrades, and so I definitely think it should be them-driven. If we do want to make that clear in the motion, way we could do that is change it to say outlining options to support replacing and enhancing the cenotaph. So yeah, if the chair would permit, I'd love to make a second friendly amendment. Okay.
All right, Councillor Auger.
Thank you, Mayor. It was good to see Dean and Frank come and do their presentation. I've been blessed and honored for the last few years to place a wreath at Bonnet Center during Remembrance Day. And I've just been sitting here thinking and just wordsmithing with Chris here. But to me, a good location would be an area where there's always going to be a lot of people, like Bonnet's, like a community center. Because that's what they did back home on the res, where they built a monument for the veterans right at the community center in the arena, so people see it every day. The kids see it every day. And so to me, a real good location should be maybe Bonnet Center. Thank you.
Okay, thanks for your input. Seeing no one else in the queue, I'll call the question on the motion. That carries unanimously. Moving on to today's agenda, there are no other items of business prior to our evening session, so I'll call this. No, oh, sorry, we're doing council member reports this afternoon. My apologies. Moving on to item number 12, and I'll start with Councillor Bressy.
Great. Thank you, Mayor Clayton. Two things I want to report is I got to attend a special police commission meeting with Councillor Palat to review financials of GPPS and also review the transition plan. And the quick report on that is things are very much on track to be on our approved budget and to have an orderly transition going into October 21st next year. And also, it was really great to attend with almost all of council and almost all of county council a workshop on our intermunicipal collaboration framework and how we work with the county. And for me as a returning councillor who was on that committee last term, it was mostly a refresher. But it was fun to review the significant body of work that our administration and our council teams have done to work better together. And so I sure value and appreciate that relationship. So that was a standout meeting to me.
Great. Thanks for that. Councillor Auger.
Thank you, Mayor. I guess the only thing I really have to report on is I've been to 2 storm board meetings for November and December. And both times, most of the discussion has been based on income and expenses for the hockey team. And in December's meeting, it was primarily more about looking at ideas on how much more raising funds can the Storm hockey team do, or even just the local hockey association. And so I do believe after the end of that meeting, it was decided they would look into more types of fundraising activities that they can get involved in or present to the public at Storm games and at minor hockey games. But there seemed to be a need for funding for the Storm hockey team because their expenses are quite high for travel. And so hopefully some things came out of the last meeting. Other than that, in December, I attended quite a few ceremonies, meetings, gatherings, and I didn't bring the detailed report, so just telling you guys I have been out there, and my holidays was a bit interesting. Spent most of my time traveling back and forth to Edmonton to visit with my brother who had gone through heart surgery just before Christmas, so that's kind of what I did during the holiday break. Just got back yesterday.
Thanks for that, Councillor Auger. Councillor Thiessen.
Thank you very much, Mayor Clayton. And Councillor Auger, wishing your brother the speediest and healthiest and fastest of recoveries so that, your family can be conjoined together again in good times. Speaking of good times, I didn't really have a lot to do over the Christmas vacation except go to a bunch of Christmas parties, recharge my batteries, spend time with family, and have a low-key New Year's Eve. I'm really happy to be back and at it, seeing all your faces again. It seems like it's been more than 2 weeks than I last saw you all, but yeah, it has been. Yeah, I love you guys all so much. That's what happens when you go away from your family for a while. You start missing them. So thank you very much, everybody. That's it. I got nothing really to report right now, but I'll have more next council meeting.
Thanks for that, Councillor Thiessen. Councillor O'Toole.
Thank you very much, Mayor Clayton. I attended the local immigration meeting. It's held every month. I attended the Grande Prairie Regional Air Show Committee meeting, which is well underway. We've got lots of acts booked, and we're going to have more aircraft in the air than we've ever had before. I had a GP Intercultural Association year-end event, and I can tell you that Mr. Michael Connor joined me in that event. Also, the New Year's Eve evening out, we handed over 500 cookies, and that was Councillor Berg and myself, and Dylan handed out 1 or 2. Yeah, he ate more than he handed out, just letting you guys know that. Also, I attended the Golden Age 55 plus North election, and I was one of the scrutineers that scrutinized the vote, and we've got a whole new executive. And with that, that was my report.
Great. Thanks for that, Councillor O'Toole. Councillor O'Connor.
Thank you, Mayor Clayton. As already mentioned, some other events that I've been to, but the thing that was the joy for me was being at the mall and being at Real Canadian Superstore singing at the kettles, and people come up and say, "You're a great singer," but I don't think they know what singing is. So it was a very joyous time. I think we did very well. I hope they got their numbers. So, and it was great to be out in the community and be seen. So thanks.
Thanks for that, Councillor Berg.
Thanks, Mayor Clayton. Just two things. Again, I've got to hand out 500 cookies with a couple of teammates there on New Year's Eve, which was nice. It was a little cooler, so I think the crowd was down just a little bit. However, just want to compliment whoever booked the weather for Grand North Winterfest this coming weekend. Thank you. It'll be much nicer, so we're expecting good crowds for that. I also really got to appreciate the lights that are around the Muskosipi Park Pond. They look spectacular. Didn't know what to expect, but they exceeded my expectations. So good work to the team on that. And then just before Christmas, we all attended the Alberta Emergency Management course. Very valuable information. It was a long day, but extremely useful in light of Jasper, Slave Lake, and Fort McMurray fires and floods around Calgary High River, and then even fires in our region. Just lets us know as elected officials what our roles are and responsibilities are. So that's something that we all got to take part in as well. So those are a couple of my highlights. Thanks, Mayor Clayton.
Thanks, Councillor Berg. Councillor Flack.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor Clayton. I don't have a ton to update you on other than what's been said. It was good to have a little bit of a break and digest some of the, well, a ton of information I've taken in the last 2 months. So it was nice to slow down and kind of process all that. But I'm excited for the new year, and I'm looking forward to what we're going to do this year.
Great. Thanks for that, Councillor Flack. Councillor Palat.
Thanks, Mayor Clayton. The only thing that I guess I've attended that I don't know if was mentioned was our City Hall potluck, which was great. Councillor Thiessen and Mayor Clayton did a great job of it. It's always just good to see our staff fill the chambers up here and have some fun together. And it was fun to see us give out a lot of prizes. And other than that, it was just a great holiday season, and looking forward to getting back to work.
Great. Thanks for that, Councillor Plott. Many of the things that I did over the last few weeks have been mentioned. A couple that weren't, with my colleagues, attended a check presentation from ATCO. It was a community energy fund to support an energy audit at the Daybar Community Centre. So that was great to receive that, and look forward to see how that audit plays out. Also attended the Dream Home Artists opening. So it was an event that was hosted by all the artists that are highlighted in the new Dream Home. And I can tell you, it never ceases to amaze me of the local talent that we have in our artist community. And so when you have a chance, I strongly encourage you to visit the Dream Home. It's a great home, and you will be amazed by some of the art on the wall in the new home. Also, as mentioned by Councillor O'Connor, had the pleasure of ringing the bells and singing with Councillor O'Connor. That evening, I was at my husband's Christmas party, and people mentioned that they had no idea that O'Connor and I could sing that well. And I tell you, that wasn't even our best work. So it was a great day. We raised lots of money, and I tell you, you can see the passion in Councillor O'Connor's eyes when he is singing those Christmas carols. Yeah, I won't say he's the next Taylor Swift. That's pushing it. I also had a meeting of the Community Rail Advocacy Alliance executive, as well as a general membership meeting where we had the chief electeds or representatives from the member municipalities come together to get an update as we're looking for a few new executive members through the election. There was some changes. So right now, that was the general premise of that meeting. There will be more work coming out of CRA in the near future, as there were some changes in the federal government, and our advocacy for enhanced and adequate rail service continues. Also had a Mid-Sized City Mayor's executive meeting and a Mayor's Caucus meeting prior to Christmas, where we talked about the year ahead and where the opportunities are for bringing all of the elected officials together from mid-sized cities, and the timing of our advocacy priorities being established. Attended with my colleagues the AMA management course, which is the Alberta Emergency Management Association. That was a long course, but full of a lot of information, and had the opportunity to have a coffee meeting with Reeve Ratzlaff and Deputy Reeve Burton prior to Christmas to get an update in regards to how their council is coming together and updating on the opportunities that we see in collaboration. With that, we also had an Invest Northwest meeting where I identified some of the work ahead. I will have a more full update on the work that's coming out of Invest Northwest in the next month, I would say. It was really just bringing the new members together and getting everybody up to speed. And also attended a meeting hosted by MLA Getson with some of the municipalities of our region that want to support Penmar, the Pacific Northwest Economic Region. It is hosted in Edmonton this year, and we're looking at opportunities to bring our region and other regions together to highlight for those attending in Edmonton on day excursions of really just highlighting the opportunities and the fortunate areas that we live in Northern Alberta. So I'll have more to update on that as that sort of schedule comes together. And with that, I also took some time to visit some family, drove the roads to BC, which were a little sketchy at best, I would say. Was in the Okanagan visiting family where they have no snow, which was very weird. It's very dry there, which is always concerning as you head into spring and potentially into fire season. I would want to echo some of Councillor Thiessen's comments in regards to snow removal. We were made aware that this was the one of the largest snowfalls in December in 50 years, the third largest snowfall in December, and the seventh highest snowfall in 50 years in regards to any single month. So significant amount of snowfall. Our crews are working on our priority ones 24/7. The contractors that do typically residential, any spare hours that they have are being utilized to support our transportation team. The contractors are very busy themselves as they have not only our contract, but other commercial contracts as well. So snow removal is going flat out. I can tell you, there's a lot of work being done. There's a lot of snow out there. You add the cold weather on top of it. It's not ideal situation and conditions, but I just encourage people to, if you see an unsafe situation, call 311, report it. And with that, I also encourage you to drive slower, drive for the conditions. This is a unusual amount of snow in a small period of time, and I know our crews will continue to work hard to mitigate any unsafe areas. So thank you to the transportation team, as I know they took one day off at Christmas and they worked every other day. If you want to know where the crews have been, you can go onto our website, you can see where the equipment has been and track that. And also, again, I say it all the time, but please sign up for cityofgp.com/engage. It's a great way to see when your neighborhood's going to get done. It also identifies any changes to our snow removal. So there's updates in there, and it's a great way to stay up to speed in regards to what's happening in snow removal. So with that, we're going to adjourn for now, and we'll be back at 6 o'clock. See you then. Thank you. Good evening and welcome to the evening session of the January 5th, 2026 council meeting. We have one item of business tonight, and so we're on today's agenda under item number 16, public hearings. The first one being, the only one being 16.1, Land Use Bylaw Amendment C-1260-206. I'd like to call this public hearing to order and go to Ms. Patel for introduction.
Thank you, Mayor Clayton. Administration has received an application to rezone the subject property from commercial transition to a direct control district. The subject property is a 0.6 hectare parcel of land located on 130 Avenue. The land is currently vacant and is zoned as commercial transition district. The surrounding uses include commercial arterial, commercial transition, and medium density residential. The lots directly to the south of the subject property are currently vacant. The lots to the north contain a salvage yard. The area directly to the west is also vacant, and the area to the east across 101 Street contains fabrication and welding shop. The site is located within the boundaries of the Northridge Area Structure Plan. The ASP identifies the subject site as highway commercial, which provides for a mix of commercial, storage, and office space. The proposed amendment is consistent with the Northridge ASP. The applicant is proposing to rezone the subject land from commercial transition to a direct control district. The proposed DC district will allow for contractor general use, which is not a listed use in CT district. Contractor general is a use listed only in industrial districts, but is considered suitable for this site given its compatibility with the surrounding land uses. The proposed district also intends to ensure that any outdoor storage is adequately screened. The list of permitted uses contained within the proposed DC district are largely the same as those permitted within the commercial transition district and are similar to the uses in the surrounding land use districts. Therefore, administration does not foresee any land use compatibility issues resulting from the proposed rezoning. The proposed amendment was circulated to internal and external stakeholders. Notice of rezoning sign was placed on the subject property, and letters were mailed to the adjacent neighbors and businesses, and no concerns were received. Based on this background and analysis, it is recommended that Council give 3 readings to this bylaw. Thank you.
Great, thanks for that presentation. Open up to Council for questions of administration. Councillor Bressie.
Great. Thank you for the presentation. My only real concern with it is potential noise impacts on the residential lands, potential future residential land to the west of this. Do we have any standards, or are there any professional best practices about how far uses like this are separated from residential? Specifically, what I'm worried about is with similar developments near residential, I'm often hearing concerns about backup beeping. This is the biggest concern I hear in other residential neighborhoods. But I just want I'm trying to figure out how big an impact that is likely to have on future homes to the west.
Sorry, and just to clarify, you mean the whole section to the west?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay. Ms. Patel or Ms. Downing?
Thank you, through the chair. Looking at the property, there are other uses that have similar noise factors, and the residential property owners, when buying those properties, are aware of the surrounding properties and what's to the east. So I would think that this rezoning is compatible with the uses that could currently occur in that area, as well as properties surrounding. So I don't think that it would be any different than what is currently allowed in that area. And we can condition the development permit, though, for hours of operation, and the DC district could also be amended to deal with noise if that was council's desire.
Okay, thank you.
And just on that point, the land adjacent to the west is currently zoned commercial transition.
Yes, that is correct.
Okay, thank you. Councillor O'Connor.
Yeah, I noticed that it says adequate screening. What is adequate screening? Is there a height and visibility issue?
Ms. Patel?
Thank you, through the mayor. So we have a requirement in the district that requires any storage that is visible from the 102nd Street to be screened using methods that are to the satisfaction of Development Authority. So any storage which is visible from the residential side of the property, we wanted screened from the view.
Okay, so just follow up.
Yep.
So what height is that? I don't know what adequate means.
Ms. Patel?
Thank you, through the mayor. That is left to the satisfaction of the Development Authority to be determined at the DP stage.
Could you give him an example? Is it a 6-foot chain link fence with screening? What is adequate screening potentially?
That's what I'm trying to ask. Thank you.
Ms. Downing?
Typically, adequate screening would be at least 6 feet and solid.
Okay.
And solid, so it's not just a chain link fence then?
From my understanding, it typically would be a solid fence, yes.
And in reading the document before, I thought it was a storage yard is what was requested, but now it says construction.
Thank you. Through the chair, the district is being designed for a variety of different uses. So the applicant themselves has a certain intention to use the site. However, what council's approving tonight is open to a variety of different things. So the delegation here tonight can speak to exactly what they intend to do with the site. However, what council's approving is this particular developer could sell it, and all of the uses listed in the district would be available to whoever were to purchase this site.
So another one? So I'm just curious then, if you got solid screening and you're requiring them to, and I'm a tree lover, but you're asking them to put in some landscaping to X amount of square feet and some trees. And I'm just wondering, if you're screening it, why is that a requirement?
Thank you. Through the chair, the landscaping would be outside of a screened storage area.
Wasn't clear, so I just wanted to make sure. Thank you.
All right. Seeing no further questions for administration, I would like to go to the presentation and submission portion of our public hearing and ask if there's anyone here to speak in support of this land use bylaw amendment. Once you get situated, please come forward, introduce yourself. The microphone is on. Welcome. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Thank you very much, Madam Mayor, council members, and administration. My name is Wade Greentree, and I am with Be Green, your landscape specialists. And I first want to thank Zeal and Kim. Kim's not here, but for all their work with us getting this rezoning sorted out. They made this process very easy and pleasurable. So I appreciate you guys for that. Thank you very much. Currently, we do have an offer to purchase on this lot, and this rezoning is one of the conditions that need to be satisfied prior to finalizing the whole lot purchase. And as Ms. Patel stated, we're requesting a rezoning of the lot in question, as she mentioned in her presentation. And we're here obviously to support this motion and answer any questions you may have at this time.
Perfect. Thanks for that. Recognizing Councillor Berg.
Yeah, thanks, Mayor Clayton, and thanks, Mr. Greentree, for coming out today. I'm just kind of curious, and you may have already tipped your hat. I'm just kind of curious what you plan on putting on there, but you'd mentioned a landscape company. So is this going to be a storage yard for landscape products? Is that what you mentioned?
Some possibly, but generally speaking, it'd be things like right now we couldn't put a trailer in the backyard. That's why opening it up to this would allow us to park our trailers and things like that outside. So yeah, we might.
What type of trailer, if I may ask?
Oh, just your standard skid steer one that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, nothing big. We don't operate that size of stuff. So,
okay.
But yeah, it could open up to eventually where we store a little bit of gravel or things like that. But again, it's all completely screened, like Councillor O'Connor was asking, from 102nd. We want it to look really nice because we are a landscaping company, so we want to have a really high aesthetic.
Wonderful. Okay. Yeah, those are my questions.
Perfect. Thank you.
Councillor O'Toole.
Yes, thanks very much, Mayor Clayton. Is there going to be a office there, or is it going to be just for the company itself to have a place in town to store stuff?
Oh, no, we'll have a building as well on it. You betcha, with offices in the front of it. Yeah.
Guy had an inquiry, go to the office and talk.
Pardon me?
Is there going to be hours of operation in there where a person that's interested can go in there, a customer?
Yeah, you betcha.
Okay, thank you
Yeah,
very much.
just as it is now.
All right. I don't see anyone else with questions. Thank you for being here.
Thank you very much.
I'll now ask a second time if there's anyone else here to speak in support of this land use bylaw amendment C-1260-206. And seeing online or in person if there's anyone, a third time, anyone here to speak in support of this land use bylaw amendment. Seeing none, I will now ask if there's anyone here to speak in opposition to this land use bylaw amendment C-1260-206. And online or in the chambers, anyone here to speak in opposition of this land use bylaw amendment. I'll now ask a second time if there's anyone here to speak in opposition. And seeing no one, I'll ask a third time if there's anyone here to speak in opposition against this land use bylaw amendment C-1260-206. Seeing no one here to speak in opposition, I will close the public hearing and go to business arising from the hearing. Recognizing Councillor O'Toole.
Thank you very much, Mayor Clayton. I've got 4 motions here that I would like to make. I move that council give first reading to bylaw C-1260-206, being an amendment to the land use bylaw.
Thank you. That motion is in order. There is no discussion or debate on first reading, so I'll call the question. Please vote.
Bressy in favor.
And that carries unanimously. Councillor O'Toole.
Yes, I move that council give second reading to bylaw C-1260-206.
That motion is in order. An opportunity for questions for administration, discussion, or debate. Seeing no one in the queue, I'll call the question on second reading. And that carries unanimously. Councillor O'Toole.
I move the council have third reading of bylaw C-1260-206 at this meeting.
Thanks for that motion. That motion is in order. In order for us to have third reading here tonight, this motion must pass unanimously. I'll call the question on the third reading of having third reading for bylaw C-1260-206 at this meeting. Please vote. And that carries unanimously. Councillor O'Toole.
I move that council give third reading to bylaw C-1260-206, being an amendment to the land use bylaw.
Thank you for that. That motion is in order. Opportunity for council, discussion or debate. Seeing no one in the queue, I'll call the question. And that carries unanimously. With that, we've already dealt with our roundtable in the earlier session, so I'll call this meeting adjourned, and we will see you soon.